Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Ruthie.D.analyst, a tutor, data analyst, and a consultant. I help you discover your path in the tech world, whether it's in data analytics, cyber security, networking, software development, and so on. So you discover your path in any of these areas in tech with our one-on-one consulting section. So, have you ever wondered how your code makes decisions? Like, how does it know when to run something or not? Well, that's the magic of what we're going to learn today. And I'll show you how to master them using comparison and logical operators in just few minutes. Whether you're a beginner or brushing up your skills, this one is for you. So, stay right with me till the end of this video because you're going to learn a lot in this video. It's beginner friendly, and obviously if you want to upskill or you're refreshing, this video is really good for you. So let's start with the comparison operator. What is comparison operators? Comparison operators are used to compare two values and determine a relationship between them, typically resulting in a Boolean value, which is either true or false. So they are really essential for making decisions in programs and are found in various programming language. So this if statement, you're going to find it in Python. So you found it, it is very useful in different programming language. So these are comparison operators. We have a list of students here in this our data. We have list of students here who did test test 1 and test 2. So with the comparison operator, we want to know, because our output will be a Boolean value. As comparing the relationship between these two scores, we return a Boolean value, which is either true or false. So let's start with this. When we want to start with a formula in Excel, we start with an equals to sign. So let's compare. If this greater, if test 1 is greater than test 2, so it return false. Let's fill out. Let's use our fill handle to fill out. So now we have first here. Why does it return false? Because test 1 is not greater than test 2, which is 25 is not greater than 80. I think we have true here because 69 is greater than 51. So this person did well in test 1 but dropped down a little in test 2. That is why it is returning true. So for the second one, we have less than. If test 1 is less than test 2, it returns a Boolean value. So this is showing true because test 1 is less than test 2. This is showing false because test 1 is greater than test 2, but test 2 is less than test 1. That is why it is showing false. So for this, we said greater than or less than or equals to. So if this test 1 is less than or equals to test 2, it also returns Boolean value. So this is true because this is less than test 2. So this is returning false because 94 test 1 is not less than test 2. So this is returning true because test 1 is less than test 2. So let's try for the greater than. If test 1 greater than or equals to test 2, this returns false. Why the not equals to this? If test 1 not equals to this, so everything returns true because no score is equals to each other. We don't have same score. So this is how the comparison operator works. So let's move to our logical operator. So for logical operator, we have our and and or here. So what is the AND operator? The AND operator is a logical operator that returns true only if all of its operands are true. So this AND operator requires all conditions to be met for the result to be true. If any operand is false, the entire expression is false. So the condition now is checks whether all arguments are true and returns true if all arguments are true. So for the AND operator, our logical test, let's say if this greater than 50, comma, and our test 2 greater than 50, it should return, if it return a Boolean value. So this return false because test 1 is not greater than 50, but test 2 is greater than 50. The statement says if the conditions are met, if all conditions are met for the result to be true. So these conditions is not met. Test 1 is not greater than 50, but test 2 is greater than 50. So that is why it's returning false. While this is returning true because all conditions were met. This is greater than 50 and this is also greater than 50. That is why it is returning true. So that is how the AND statement works. So let's move to OR. The OR checks whether any of the arguments are true and returns true or false. It returns false only if all arguments are false. So for the OR operator, let's say if test 1 greater than 60 and test 2 greater than 60. So we have just one false here because none of the conditions are met. None of the conditions were met. So this returns true because one condition was met. This is greater than 60, but this is not greater than 60. So that is how the OR works. The logical operator, the OR logical operator works. So let's move to our if statement. So if checks whether a condition is met and returns one value if true and another value if false. So if this person's score is greater than 80, because that is the condition. If it's greater than 80, if truly it's greater than 80, it should return pass. Else, if it's not greater than 80, it should return fail. So for this student, we have just 3 pass because only 3 people scored more than 80. You can see. So let's move to the nested if. Let's write our conditions out. If anyone scored greater than greater than 70, it should return pass. If anyone scored greater than 50, it should return average. If anyone scored greater than greater than 30, it should return fail. Else, it should return try again. So this is the condition we have that I want to use for our nested if. So let's put it in. So remember, our if statement checks whether a condition is met. So this is our condition we want to put in for this. So if the score is greater than 70, it should return pass. If the score is greater than 50, it should return average. If this score is greater than 30, it should return fail. Else, it should return try again. So do we understand it? So the condition now is any of the students that scored more than 70, it will return pass. Any student that scored more than 50, it will return average. Any student that scored more than 30, it will return fail. And anything below that will return try again. So let's fill. So this shows this person score less than 30. That is why it returns try again. This is returning fail because it is between 30 to 49. So this is returning average because it is between 50 to 70. And this is returning pass because it is above 70. This is above 70, this is above 70. So that is how our nested if works. Next, let's move to our if and or statement. So we have students here who did 3 tests, and we want to know with some conditions, we want to know if it will return if they pass or if they failed. So the condition here, to use our if and, we say if, open parenthesis, and. So you see our and checks whether arguments are true. So if this greater than 70 and test 2 greater than 70, you can change the score, it depends, and test 3 greater than 65. It should return pass. Anything other than that should return fail. So this shows that none of the students met with the condition because everybody failed. The condition says if for test 1, if they scored above greater than 70, for test 2, if they scored above 70, and for test 3, if they scored greater than 65. it should return pass. So I did a random score. So as I type, my scores are changing because I just put a random figure in it. So now we have one pass. We have two passes. So this person passed is called greater than 70, and greater than 65 here. So that is how the if and works. So let's use this same condition for our or statement. So equals to if and or. So if this person scored greater than 70 for test 1 and test 2 scored greater than 70, and for test 3 it scored greater than 65, so it should return pass, else it should return fail. So this is the result for our if and statement. So we tried same condition for if and or and if and. So today we did the comparison operator, that is the greater than, less than, equals to, less than or equals to, greater than or equals to, like that. So you can go back and try again. You can watch the video again to master the formulas. And we also did the logical operators, that is the and or statements. We did the if statement and we did the nested if, and we also did the and if statement. So that's how you take control of your logical operators using the if statement like a pro. So if this video helps you, give it a thumbs up, like, share with your fellow learners, and don't forget to subscribe for more practical tech and data tutorials. So until next time, keep solving with logic. So see you in our next video.